Winnipeg is back in the big leagues and over the moon.
Welcome to the Landing Strip with Nick Lynham and Mikey Garcia, presented by From Financial.
Welcome back to the Landing Strip, presented by From Financial, and the vibes on this late, what is it, Thursday morning now?
Thursday morning.
We're past midnight. This Thursday morning vibes. If you're still up with us, bless your heart. As the vibes are going to be a bit more of a celebratory feel compared to Sunday afternoon's therapy session. Mikey, how you doing tonight, buddy?
You know, it's a little bit late tonight. People might be a little bit sleepy, but I've got a great way to wake everybody up. So I think you know how I am.
They answered the bell in the playoffs.
God, this felt like it's been forever.
Please be okay, Shifley.
That's why we're doing two. The second one's for Shife.
I'm gonna make a little personal one. I'm gonna get you to play that again because your boy got some very good news on his cancer treatments today, and I'm fired up. I've had a really good Wednesday, so let's do it one more time before we get into this show late night today. Let's do it one more time. This is a dream Wednesday for your boy.
Can't ask for much more than that.
No way. Okay, let's get into it. The Winnipeg Jets beat the St. Louis Blues 5-3 in Game 5. I'll lead it to you first here, Mikey. What was your big takeaway from the Winnipeg Jets tonight?
What's the, I think it's called Murphy's Law, right? Everything that can go wrong will go wrong. And I felt like that was the night the Jets were starting to have at a certain point, but it didn't really matter. They still came out and resilient as fuck. What a bounce back after two just stinker games that absolutely belong in the shitter. They came back in this one, and just everything that they could have faced adversity on, they did, and they found a way to match it. So I was blown away by the overall tone of the game. It was a weird one. It was a strange one, but man, that second period especially was, that was something.
Yeah, first off, thanks to the chat for all the kind words and to answer choices. I am wearing the whiteout towel under the hat. It was that kind of night in the arena tonight. The vitamins might have been going a little bit. But my takeaway on this one, I kind of hate the whole platitudes, right? I hate the easy stuff, the way that games are categorized. But I gotta say, leaving that one, and absolutely gutsy. That's a gutsy playoff win at home. Lose Mark Scheifele early. We're going to be talking a lot about that kind of stuff. Next man up, I got to say, I wasn't feeling good when Scheifele didn't come back out, and they get the depth scoring. 1C Vlad Nemestikov, never mind the 2C that wasn't scoring. 1C Vlad Nemestikov is out here scoring off a filthy, filthy pass from Kyle Connor, whose game we're going to have to talk about Kyle Connor in a great lens after that one. Dylan DeMello scoring goals off of the other team's ass. Connor Hellebuyck has a great first, lets in a stinker to bring it back to a tie, and they respond.
Yep.
Keep the Blues under 20 shots, and if I'm not mistaken, this was the first game, though it didn't seem like it for most of it, that the Jets end up out physically matching the Blues on the hit chart.
Yeah.
Just a gutsy performance with all the pressure on. This was a pressures on Winnipeg night, and the Winnipeg Jets came out what they normally do at home. They played some tight gaps for the most part. The one pair still fucking terrifies me. They put on the pressure. They played through some bullshit. They lost their number one center. And Connor Hellebuyck was still not the MVP level. Made some big saves early. And
incredible save early. So, yeah.
Correct. So I'm not even trying to shit on it, but it was still not that level guy. And they come out and it doesn't matter. Just a gutsy performance out of the Winnipeg Jets tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. To hold the Blues to so few shots while they're chasing a really close lead was absolutely incredible. They got back to their brand of defensive hockey, something we didn't see in the 2 games in St. Louis, even if one of the 3 pairings was atrocious, and we'll get to them later. Just on a night where everything that they had to fight back against, they did it, and they did it well. It was, like you said, it was gutsy. It was, tough as nails, whatever cliche you want to use. That's exactly what it was tonight. They found another level. They dug deep. We can pull them all out because they were all true tonight.
They were, and it started right off the hop. I came into this one. I think people know where my vibes were. As Caitlin said over on YouTube, we're so fucking back. I was so distraught after last game to watch live. We appreciate that you're back. It was quite the lengthy therapy session. We got a lot of great feedback, so thank you for everyone that was a part of that show on Sunday. That was awesome. I'm stunned in the best way possible, Caitlin says. And I was going into this one. The feeling that I was feeling this afternoon was when you're a little kid going to your first roller coaster. Mine was out at Valley Fair, and you're staring up at this thing, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm this big tough guy. It's not gonna phase me, and the line's taking forever. The anticipation's building, and you're like, am I gonna die on this thing? Am I gonna be on the coaster that flies off the railway? That's where my head was at. We were either coming out of this one really, really excited about where things were at for this team, or it was gonna feel like the end of believing in this core. The stakes were pretty high for me tonight, and the Winnipeg Jets answered the bell in the best of fashions. Right from early on, I thought the first goal was going to be big in this one, just because it felt like the Jets were kind of coming into this one on the mat or on the ropes, and they need to swing back. Kyle Connor, absolute rip from Mark Scheifele, and Mason Appleton gets that going in the most bizarre fashion, gets absolutely high stick, collapses into the boards, gets up, is ready to bitch about a penalty. Has the wherewithal, though, to Mason Appleton's credit, to kick that puck over to Mark Scheifele, who finds Kyle Connor early, and he scores. Perfect way. The barn erupted. The nervous energy left. And then St. Louis answers. And you're like, okay, how's this team going to respond based on Sunday, right? As soon as they kind of felt the adversity Sunday, it started to go the other way. and they punch back, and then they don't let a goal in the last minute of the first. You leave it 2-1. Connor Hellebuyck makes that save on the power play with the paddle. That just felt like that momentum shifter to keep that a 2-1 game. And then his save in that last minute, Colt Parayko got loose, and that puck comes off the half wall to Parayko. And he actually came out. We were talking a lot about how deep he's playing in his crease.
Yep.
He comes out and challenges, makes a big save to leave that period there. So I thought the Jets answered the bell real well right from the beginning of this one, and then carried it through the rest of the night. You got to be happy if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan leaving that game after, and the response from what we just saw happen in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed to do to start off the game. Getting the goal right away was absolutely massive. That was going to be setting the tone, right? If people thought the show the other night had a somber feel, oh boy, you wouldn't have probably want to be around then tonight if they had lost this game. I was ready to have a whole funeral and everything. You know, this was a tough one coming into it, and they made me feel a hell of a lot better. We've talked all year about how this is a different team. They feel different. The losses don't feel as lingering. They're able to bounce back. And when we had those 2 in a row, you know, you start getting those flashes of, oh God, here we go again. This is all over. This is done. It was nice to get this put together tonight. And, going into the game on Friday, I feel a hell of a lot better than I did going into tonight.
I definitely feel a hell of a lot better. My big thought, we were having this debate in the group chats, right? Is this a must win or is it a can't lose? And I was feeling like it was a must win, actually. I thought I was coming into this one thinking whoever wins this game is going to win the series.
Yep.
But I think they were right on the can't lose stuff, because it's never a must win until you need that last one. But I was coming in nervous about it, just especially with the recent playoff history, right? Like, we can't ignore what this core has done in this spot before.
Yep.
And they continued to have, or they continued to, like you said, bounce back like they have all year. Continued to show that this team has been different than years past, and they did it tonight largely without their number one center, which just adds an emphasis on this win. This was a massive showing at home, and I guess we got to remember the old adage, right? You're not in trouble till you lose at home.
Yep.
This was a home W. Wasn't always the prettiest, and it's not going to be at this time of year, but the Winnipeg Jets put a nice bow on Game 5 here to take the lead back to St. Louis.
Yeah, the President's Trophy taketh and it giveth away, right? It's you don't have to lose. You don't have to win a single game anywhere but at home if you're the President's Trophy winner. So if they want to keep putting up performances like that at home and get all 16 there, hey, it'll be a real long playoff run, and it'll be real exciting. This was exactly what the Jets needed tonight. Losing Mark Scheifele, I don't think anybody thought that they'd be able to hold on as well as they did and fill that role with Vlad Domestikov up there putting in just an absolutely, like you said, gutsy, tough as nails type performance. Chet-centric over on YouTube says, people who are on topic, me, I wonder what Ivan Telegan is up to. And there's been a lot of that going along tonight. I was wondering what Olli Jokinen, what is his old bones doing right now? Where is he?
Curtis Weeb points out a conversation we had 4 or 5 weeks ago. Just get through the first round and build confidence. I was talking to a couple of guys out in the street party before heading in that I used to play against way back. Oh, fuck, I'm getting old these days. And we were all kind of in the same boat as where Curtis Weeb's going here, where if this team was able to mentally get over this gap of this first round thing that's been going on in years past, I do think you're going to see the snowball effect, right? You're going to get a guy like Nick Ehlers who's back skating. So all that concern from the broken tibia thing, and he might have had a broken bone, but he's on the ice 2 days after someone's tweeting that out. And you'd expect if he's already starting to skate, he's going to become an option for round 2. So you're going to get some added help. They get Gabe Valardi back into the lineup today. We'll get into that. We'll see with the Mark Scheifele thing. What do you think of there? Let's talk about the Mark Scheifele play before we dive into some of this. Right from his first shift, you could tell there was a target on his back.
Yep.
He was dealing with everything early and often. A couple shots to the head. Obviously, that Braden Shen one early, and then he leaves. I don't think he plays another shift after the Radek Faxa one.
No.
Are we thinking shoulder, concussion? Is he going to be back next game? There was nothing really said after the game. And how do you feel about the Braden Shen hit, as we saw a bit of a war of words from the coaching staff post game?
Yeah, that was really interesting. Arneal didn't quite like the comments that Jim Montgomery was making about the play and where he thought Scheifele got hurt. So that I like that Arneal was really airing that out there, because yeah, it's become a thing, right? It started in game 3. It really picked up in game 4. Scheifele's been the target of those high hits, of those, quite a few of them leaving their feet, right? It's become a thing. And apparently Arneal said they've called the league about it after every game to talk to them about it. They're really not happy with the way that those, specifically the plays where the guys are leaving their feet and hitting you in a, real vulnerable position. So yeah, I'm assuming it's shoulder. I don't think it's concussion. I didn't see on the replays a lot of contact to the head. So I'm hoping that it is just a shoulder type thing and it's not concussion based. But yeah, Arneal being real pissed off at Monty, and that was interesting. I like that he came out and took that shot at Monty's medical degree.
Yeah, Monty. You can tell that's both coaches pining for the league's decision going into tomorrow, because Monty right away goes to it wasn't the Shen hit that took out 55. It's the Faxa one. Obviously, because the Shen one's going to be the one that gets at least look, you'd think,
you would hope.
League. And Arneal makes sure to counter that with the medical degree comment. That was funny. And I really like Arneal going that hard in that spot after winning a game and losing your star. Like, I think it's one thing if you're trying to pine the league after a loss. I think it's a little bit of a different look.
Yep.
But when you're up in the series, you just lost your star, you just had a big win like that. I think that's a perfect time for Arneal to go into the old pocketbook for the fine that might be coming after talking about that business, and showing the team that you have your back like that. And I gotta say, if you're looking at that hit, I think the precedent was set in the Tampa Bay, Florida series, where the Brandon Hagel hit looks very identical to the Braden Shen hit. That's what I was doing in the back of the Uber. I was watching both of those. Scheifele doesn't have the puck. Braden Shen leaves his feet.
Yep.
It's so similar to what Brandon Hagel just got a game for. That's where my expectation should be. And I would be pretty pissed if Braden Shen's not sitting out in Game 6, who's continued to terrorize the Jets physically, by the way.
Yeah, it's been the physical aspect of his game has been huge. Just the pest nature of it has been huge. So yeah, that was I'm gonna agree with Zany over on YouTube that it at minimum should have been a 5. The fact that it was assessed at a minor was crazy.
And the thing is, you could review that now.
Yeah, you can review it.
If the refs rule it a major, you can go to the tablet. And I think that's one of those things when it comes to some of these reviewable plays, like the offside one as well. I'd rather the ref not make the call that would disrupt the play and actually make the call that allows them to review. I just think it makes more sense. Kind of like what football's become with the touchdown is automatically reviewed now, right?
Yeah.
I just think those are the kind of decisions. And you know what other call I hate? And this happens in every game. This isn't even just about this game. The idea that you can get a penalty and the other player can get an embellishment is one of the dumbest things in this sport. It makes no sense if you're handing both of those out on a play, and it drives me fucking nuts to see it.
Yeah, logically it makes no sense. Either it was a penalty and you're assessing that penalty, or it wasn't and the guy dived, so you're assessing the dive. You can't, I don't know why they do this evening out bullshit. They've been doing it forever. It makes no sense. Don't have the rule then and don't have the penalty if this is what you're going to do, because you're not penalizing anything. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with what Justin L over on Twitch says. To me, he leaves his feet and gets him high. Puck isn't super close either. How they got to review that. I would expect at least a review. We'll see tomorrow. It seems like Zuch and Sill both don't think a suspension is coming. But yeah, I like Arneal going there after the game, as he should. The Scheifele thing is going to be really interesting. Obviously, center is not the spot you could really afford to lose him. I also liked Arneal protecting Connor and Valardi, keeping them off the ice. So during that last shift that Connor was out there, Braden Shen was just following him around, sticking him, trying to get him to lose his shit and stuff, and Arneal put a stop to that right away. smart in-game management given where that game had gone. But yeah, the whole 55 thing, like, what does this look like on Friday if 55 can't go? Where do the Jets go up the middle? What is it with, I guess, Gus come back in and everyone just bumps up a spot? What are you thinking here?
Everybody bumps up a spot. Gus slides back in on the 4th. Vlad will play in the middle between Gabe and Connor.
You know what? I imagine that's what they're going to do.
Yep.
I mean,
they won't do anything. They won't do anything different now. They won't. They won't experiment now. You know, it just. I'm a. You know, throw Morgan Barron in there. That's let's have. I'd be up for that. Give that big body to Kyle Connor.
I thought this was another nice game from Morgan Barron, and when he drove that net in the 3rd and almost goes far side roof. Yep. Barron continues to impress, man. Once he moved to the middle and really found his game. Really, really impressed. So okay, so what I'm getting at is I think you're right. I think that's what they're gonna do. I like the Lowry Perfetti Iafallo line tonight, by the way.
Yeah.
Been wanting to see Lowry and Perfetti. I liked how they worked off each other. And Cole Perfetti is this close. How long now? He's been all over this playoff series.
The whole series.
When he gets one, it's going to come. Cole Perfetti is this close to breaking out. I continue to be impressed in his tour of this first round of the playoffs, even with the goals not being there. He is all over this, and I think everyone's got to be excited about where his game has translated in the playoffs. That's coming. Nino gets on the board. We've been lacking some middle six scoring. He gets the hard area in front. Yep. Tips that. I believe it was Sandberg shot, if I remember the play right. So that was great to see. He was kind of all over this one in a way that we haven't seen yet. We've been waiting for Nino to wake up. And you just got to be happy with the contributions across the board. The D played some big minutes in that top 4.
Yeah.
Not many minutes in that bottom 2 today.
No.
And justifiably so. The puck movement was tough to watch. So Luke Shen makes a big block. I think part of how we got to look at this, like there's big moments in playoffs games, and Sandberg has that turnover, and Luke Shen makes a big block. So there's that side of it. But I thought that pair really did struggle to move the puck out, which caused some havoc. Obviously creates that goal in the last minute or a couple minutes that didn't really matter. But the top 4 itself, I thought, looked really steady. We're keeping their gaps up. And here we are, talking about another win. Where I wanted to go with the center thing, though, never going to happen. But their top prospect center just did get swept in the CHL today. If you wanted to add some skill, you're going to need somebody on the power play. Play him in the 3rd line, play power play. I'm just throwing that as an option out there because it is hard to lose Mark Scheifele and what he does for this team offensively. I don't think they could replace that on the NHL roster.
The look I would like is the one that our friend Mo serves up to us on the YouTube chat. Perfetti is a natural center. Move him up.
I don't think. See, I think.
I know they're not going to.
Stuff, I think that's something you look at next year in the
summer,
in the training camp in the summer. Especially if they have gotten quality center play out of their depth guys. It's just so hard when Mark Scheifele means that much offensively. Like the center group's been quality. Morgan Baronson's bumping over. I don't mind the fact he's going to get more minutes. I think he's earned more minutes. Adam Lowry probably still needs to establish himself physically in this series, but it was nice to see him get the empty netter.
Empty net king.
I thought he was pulling off that wraparound. When that hit the post.
Oh, that was close.
Nino tries to sweep it in on his belly. Want to give some love to the 4th line too, man. The 4th line was buzzing. Tanev's just a firecracker. JAD really complemented their game well. He's really using that body and the size to protect and create once they do get some looks. So I was impressed there. And who would be the center there? Right, I guess it would have been Barron to start, and then they were rotating.
And then they rotated.
Through.
Yep.
But yeah, I thought the 4th line continued to build off of what they've done down this stretch. This was definitely a full team effort. And the Winnipeg Jets model that we're used to seeing. How can you not? I saw Loxy was in the chat after saying, if you're a Jets fan, there's nothing to complain about tonight. With how that all played out and how they got to the result, I'm buzzing with what we just witnessed from this team as a response to that tough Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, it was like the games in the middle of the year. You know what I mean? When the team was kind of just rolling along. Yeah, they're missing some guys from injury. Yeah, you didn't get maybe the best night out of everybody, but they played a full team game. They overcame their adversity. They pushed through. It felt like, this year's version of quote unquote Jets hockey. And if they can keep that going and start to get some of these guys back, hopefully the Scheifele thing isn't a long-term problem. If you can get Ehlers back in round 2 at some point, this is we get back to that point of being real excited about how deep this run can go.
A couple of questions in the chat about, have we talked about Morrissey being hurt and what's up with Morrissey? Someone suggests his skating looks labored. Definitely has missed a gear most of this series, and I'm kind of along the same lines where I haven't seen that jump, so I was wondering about something lower body. I had some people DMing me quite a bit about Lowry physically wondering the same thing, and at this time of year, everyone's kind of dealing with something, so that would not surprise me. B. Kel says, I'm hoping to see them shake hands Friday. And hey, you better call in after a big W on Friday if you get to watch the handshake, which takes me to, let's go to our From Financial Face-Off, and we'll open up those phone lines here if you want to call in on this late night here. But with the From Financial Face-Off, whether you want to call in or you want to join in the chat, let us know which what was the key detail missing in this one? What was the key details that went into the Winnipeg Jets bouncing back and winning this game? Or it could be, what's the key detail going into St. Louis and leaving this one? What is the difference in this series? We want to hear from you for the From Financial Face-Off. Mikey, before I ask you, there's some humor in the chat, and on this late night, I'm enjoying it. We got Dr. Jim Montgomery as a username over on YouTube, saying
Celebrity.
Sundqvist is totally fine. He conducted a full checkup. My prescription just needs some Kleenex for his tears. He'll feel better when he's on the golf course. And Sundqvist was someone, even my brother had said, man, he's being a whiny bitch out there tonight. So I wanted to shout out Dr. Jim Montgomery on that one. Finer also says, search the landing strip, and got some Today Show ladies talking about their landing strips. I'm glad you found the right place. I'm glad you got there for this landing strip after dark as we approach the 1 a.m. hour. But back to the From Financial Face-Off. Mikey, what was yours on this night?
So on a night where, the Jets won and they did a lot of things that were great, I'm going to kind of go at a negative thing a little bit here on a worry. I'm going to worry for Friday with the third pairing. I'm zoning in again on this third pairing of Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn. I'm really struggling to understand what the fuck we are doing with Logan Stanley. He's playing 9 minutes total on the whole fucking game, 5-on-5, no special teams. The minutes that he is out there are still absolutely atrocious. They're getting hemmed in. It's visibly bad. He's coughing up the puck in the defensive zone, leading to, increased offensive time for the Blues. It's just so frustrating, and I don't understand what we're still doing this deep into the playoffs, this much tape, this much film, this much, data on this person. And we're still like, yeah, no, definitely, we're going to put him out there. And then he doesn't see the ice for, half the game from the, I don't get it. I truly don't. He can travel with the team. He can practice with the team. He can be a mascot. You can have him on. I just don't understand the need to have him dressed every night when it's clearly a detriment to the rest of your team. You're putting a strain on the guys who are playing the bigger minutes ahead of him because they have to play more of those minutes. It just, I don't get it. And if we're going to do it again going into St. Louis, then, buckle up and guarantee for Game 7 back in Winnipeg, y'all.
I wouldn't go that far. You just want to play 9 to 10 minutes. But hey, my vibes are too good to beat up on that tonight. I don't necessarily disagree with anything you said, but I'm going to move this a different direction. I'm going to dive into the chat, and you're right, it's just never going to change kind of thing.
No, it's not. I just wanted to bitch
too much. Yeah, it's okay. Over on the chat, over on Twitch, HH Living Local starts off the From Financial Face-Off with, "This is the fucking year." And I love riding the roller coaster with fandom. From writing the obituary, all of us, getting all those calls, and progressively getting more optimistic as the show went on, to now we're talking about it being the year after a response like that from Winnipeg. And hey, we talked about it as we were finding that optimism. If they win every home game, it might be the fucking year.
Yep.
So that's HH Living Locals. Big Papa, 81 steps up and drives his line, a question lots have had. He needs to do it in St. Louis as well. Also, finding the founding of... Also, DeMello finding the fountain of youth has been huge. Ooh. On 81, we were kind of talking about coming up with some big game winners, but wanted to see that complete buy-in, two-way game, especially with missing Valardi and Ehlers, and just how much more important him and Scheifele had become with the injuries. I thought this was Kyle Connor's best game in this series by a mile. Probably the Jets' best forward, best skater in this game. For him to step up when Mark Scheifele goes down was a huge, huge thing for the Winnipeg Jets tonight. Huge for Kyle Connor. And, yeah, I like that from Big Papa as his From Financial face-off. Zooch 40s is the Jets locking it down at home. Just a picture-perfect home game out of Winnipeg. Hulk is exercising the ghost of Pavlik from Helly and bring that same zip and connectedness to St. Louis, and your team is going large. I like this from Zooch because it's been missing for most of this series. They've depended on the top line to put them on the board. Zooch's From Financial faceoff is the secondary scoring, and what a time for it to come up in a pivotal Game 5. Great to see. Got it up and down the lineup. Got it from Vlad jumping up to the top line. Yep. You got Mason Appleton with the most interesting 3-assist game I've ever watched an NHL player get, where someone had described it to me where they felt like watching Mason Appleton tonight was like as if his stick was a trampoline. And I saw all that too, and I got frustrated with it all. But to Mason Appleton's credit in this whole depth scoring stuff, Mason Appleton was a big part of 3 massive plays in this one to put the Jets on the board. And in a game like this, that's where it matters. That's where it matters. I saw the things people were frustrated with, but he was a big piece of 3 goals tonight. So shout out to Mason Appleton.
Maybe the worst 3-point game ever. You know, like one of those weird things.
It was an interesting one. And hey, it comes out on the positive end in 3 big plays. That's where I'm leaving it there.
I love it.
Sills From Financial faceoff would be the helmet first save and the 2 huge pad saves. He made the timely saves and he hadn't in previous games. Still a bit more, but it was better. And you know what? I'm going to parlay off Sill. My From Financial faceoff difference, the turning point for me was that paddle save.
Yeah.
If it goes to 2-2 after a great start, but a shorthanded goal like that where Cole Perfetti walks along the line and Binnington makes that far pad save, and then they go up the other way and get a 2-on-1. Morrissey plays it right down the middle, which was not the best way to go about that.
Yeah.
And Hellebuyck comes up with that paddle save. I thought that was their turning point. I don't know what that game looks like if that goes in and how things start to ride. So that's where I wanted to go with mine. Justin L's From Financial faceoff is the Jets holding the Blues to 9 shots after 2, which is incredible when you think about it.
Like absolutely insane.
Also responding to a couple of tying goals and 55 injury and elevating their game. Yeah. Outside of like some moments in this one where it got tense at times, the Winnipeg Jets continuously. This was my big question coming into this one after what happened on Sunday and like the history that's followed this core, the narrative that's followed this core that we've all lived through. And that's why we've had that trauma and that we're riding the waves and we were a little probably too low after a 2-2 series tie.
Yep.
The Winnipeg Jets landed the first punch. They got punched back. They landed the next one. They got punched back. And without their number 1 center, they landed the next few. I thought today was an excellent statement to answer some of what was concerning a lot of Jets fans coming into this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Over on YouTube, we'll dive into a few more here. Scott Westman's is KFC seems to be everywhere this game, noticeable every shift. So parlaying off what Big Papa said, again, I thought this was Kyle Connor's best game in this playoff series. Huge for him. Huge. Caitlin says the same. Kyle Connor, he stepped up big time when 55 went down, and both of them have answered the bell throughout the series.
Yep.
Go for it. Sorry there.
Oh, just Kyle Connor moves into second for playoff points for the Jets now.
There you go. There you go. Keshore. Hey, Keshore. Nice to see you in the chat. Got
Welcome
to meet him. Was it game one? I think it was game one he was in town from. Says, I think it's time for Miller to come in. Too much chaos from the bottom pair, and Arniel only played 64 in 9 minutes. He doesn't believe in them either.
Right.
And, hey, I'm with you guys. It's as clear as day to like 95% of people. Unfortunately, the people that make the decisions, it won't be. It's one of those things I just can't beat up because I feel like I'm going to be beating a dead horse. I think it's obvious that they could use that boost, especially with the puck movement. Miller still brings a bit of physicality. He brings a little offense from the back end, which you lose in your center.
They're going to be needing, right? Yeah.
Hey, I'm there. I just don't see it happening. Is where it is. I'm there. I agree with you all. Cruz 1997 says, is Mark out long term? We won't know much about what's going on with Scheif until tomorrow by the sounds of it. Hopefully it's not long term.
Yeah, Arnie said we're going to wait and see until tomorrow. We don't discuss injuries, especially this time of year, so he says tomorrow we'll give you something.
Tyler Branch is calling the Bennington will pull a Team Canada performance out of his ass and stand on his head to win this series in 7. And I don't want to hear that right now. Not interested in that bad juju. I was pretty low from Sunday till today. The Winnipeg Jets only have to beat St. Louis one of the next 2 games. I like their odds.
Yep.
I think the Winnipeg Jets are taking this, and I'm hoping it's on Friday. But it won't surprise me if me and you are going on a little date to
Game 7, baby.
Bobby Launderville goes to where I was ranting about earlier. BS call on Valardi. I hate it. If you call it embellishment, I hate it.
Yeah.
What do we think? What do we think of Valardi's first game back?
Good game back. He looked right back at home on that top line. Like he didn't, he didn't look like he had missed any time whatsoever. He's great, especially in front of the net. High danger chances again with him on the ice were once again tilted very much in the Jets' favor. He's one of the best in close, and it was on display again tonight. So yeah, good game back. He was definitely involved, and we'll definitely see. There's a power play goal coming for Gabe Valardi right away. I can feel it. It's coming Friday.
Fuck Bobby, you're right. Me and you did talk about it today. Yeah, it's my least favorite call on Valardi.
It makes
that
sense.
looked like the guy we're used to seeing. Great, and it's just nice when me and Jarrett were kind of talking about this. The biggest difference from like the grinders in the NHL to guys like Gabe Valardi and like the star guys is just how much more patient they are with that puck to make sure to make that right play. There's a few times today where like the Jets' bottom 6 had controlled the zone, created a great situation, and they're just so used to throwing it off to the next guy. Whereas Gabe Valardi, if he doesn't see something offensively, he is so good at slowing the game down and waiting for that spot to open up before making a play. Definitely great to see him back in this lineup. He adds a dimension to that power play. On that save we're talking about, Hellebuck with the paddle, Perfetti's able to gain all that room off the line to drive the net and get that chance off the far pad because the D sucks himself to Gabe Valardi,
Yep.
who is the key to that power play working, right? He just has such a presence down low and around the net that he forces other guys to be open and be able to create off of. So nice to have Gabe back, no doubt about it. And hopefully the number 1 center's back next game too.
Yeah, if we can get a full reunion for a full game out of those guys, it would go a long way of having to avoid Game 7.
Cruz asks where Jordan from Sinclair Park is, and I'm guessing it's past his bedtime. I'm guessing he couldn't hang. Dr. Jim Montgomery, the doc's locked in today. Notice that too. Gabe can slow it down, much needed. And it's that extra time when those offensive looks open up. But yeah, I will say I did like some of the looks of the lineup once Shifley went down. It's going to be a hard group to suck some 5-on-5 offense out of.
Yeah.
But I really liked the Lowry Perfetti looks that were coming out of that group with Alex Iafallo. They really do mesh well, and that's a line that you could trust out there in matchups too. Where on the road, I don't think you're too worried about them getting caught out. Vlad stepped in, and he should have had a second goal. And Valardi gets that up to Vlad, and they go on that 2-on-1. And Justin Falk smartly takes Kyle Connor. I mean, if you're looking at Vlad Nemestikov and Kyle Connor,
yeah,
you're looking to take one guy.
It was the right call.
And an absolutely gorgeous move from Vlad Nemestikov. Somehow out-dangles himself and ends up firing it into the empty netter. Someone in the chat earlier had mentioned, I'll see if I can scroll back and find it, that it reminded them of I think it was the Patrick Steffen one I think they used.
Oh, yeah.
And that was right at my end, and me and Jarrett jumped up. We were ready to high-five. We're like, holy, Vlad going off for 2 goals as a 1C, and somehow misses everything. Couldn't believe that one. Could not believe that one.
The doctor says it took more skill for Vlad to miss that shot than it did to score it. And yeah, it was almost harder. It was almost harder.
It reminded me of a buddy that I grew up playing with, where it just seemed like no matter if he had an odd man rush or anything, he was going to dump it in. And it felt like even with the empty net, Vlad was looking to dump it in and get back to work in the corner. It was one of those things.
That's his role, right? Dump it in and just go again. It doesn't matter if it's an empty net or not.
Bobby Launderville asks, if 55 is out, does 27 rush back in Friday? I don't see it. Coming back from what he's working with, especially just getting on the ice for conditioning, no contact, and we're only a day and a half out.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised by that. We'll see if maybe Game 7. I still think that's early. I'm thinking like beginning of round two now.
Yeah,
I just can't see it with what's assumed he's been dealing with. I'd be surprised by that one.
Yeah, I don't think, and I don't think Shifley's availability in either direction would impact when Ehlers is back. If he was healthy enough to come back the next game, whether Shifley was there or not, they'd have him in quickly, right? So I think they're going to wait until he's fully ready to go. And yeah, my guess as well is that's round 2. But it would be nice.
Zuch is calling his shot with Gabe's going to score that patented down low in tight PP goal.
Yes.
And if Cole Perfetti keeps driving the net there when he has that lane, it's going to force that PK to have to make a decision.
Yep.
And we know how silky smooth Gabe is. I could see him bursting things open on the power play.
Yeah, Zuch, you're reading my mind. That's exactly what I see happening too. Gabe's going to get that one on Friday. I can't wait.
I got to ask you this question from Tyler Branch. There will be a Game 7, says Tyler Branch. I could just feel it. So which goaltender will lose his shit first and suffer a complete meltdown? Hey, I'm waiting to see. We need to see a Binnington meltdown. That guy's due for one.
He's due for one. It's been a while, right? That one hasn't erupted yet. So statistically speaking, it's Binny. There you go.
I think we're going to see the tables turn. I think we're going to see Hellebuck shut the door Friday. I'm calling a Hellebuck night Friday. It might be bold right now. I'm calling a Hellebuck night Friday. As a series clincher, that's the time for the Hellebuck night.
That's how you put the narrative to bed, right?
We're not coming back to 7. Whoever was winning tonight was winning this series in 6. It was always Jets in 6. We just got to remember that sometimes.
I wanted it in 5. I was a little hopeful, but it looks like you might have it here with Jets in 6. And again, statistically speaking, when series are tied 2-2, the team that wins Game 5 goes on to win about 80% of the time.
Ticona Pauly says, have to crush in that snow job Bitter, get him going. I actually thought, and Zuch 40 just said this as well, I thought for sure Binner would lose it tonight the way that one was going. I want to credit the Jets here, though. This was something I noticed early on in this game, was how much better. We've talked about at times the Jets' offense has really suffered because they weren't getting to that slot, and they were struggling to get things through. I thought the Jets did a better job today, and you see it in the Nino goal. It's rewarded there. Early in this one, of getting more traffic to the net and getting pucks through. You're rewarded on the DeMello one that ends up going off Parayko's ass, where it was a lot more of that rather than looking for the cute seams. And I thought the Jets did a really good job of squeezing offense that way. The way you need to do it in the playoffs. It's not always going to be the prettiest. I thought the Jets really handled that area of the ice a lot better than what we were kind of seeing through 4.
Yeah, absolutely. It's another reason why I wish we could see Colin Miller in there a little bit more too, because he's so good at adding that extra dimension. And going back to the Binnington thing, we did get to see a tiny bit of it start to bubble over. I think it was game 3. I can't remember if it was game 3 or 4 where Parayko gets caught up and yeah, right. So, yeah, we just got to get a little bit more of that going.
Brad Squires asks, how does the Jets affect LeBron's legacy going forward? My GOAT's legacy's secure, buddy. My GOAT's legacy's secure. I'm not worried about it. Keshore says, we're on the revenge tour. Jets in 6 is justice. I think so.
Agreed.
I think so. Now, is Colorado going to go back-to-back on Dallas? What an interesting turn of events in that series with Mikko Rantanen showing up late and Marty Necas on disappearance watch.
Yep. That's going to be an interesting one to see.
I'm going to be tuned into that one tomorrow. I wouldn't mind seeing that go to 7. T. Pauly calls his shot after calling out Hellebuck on Sunday. Says, Helly going to have his best game of the season Friday and get us the win. And that's what my gut tells me too, T. Kona.
Yep.
That's what my gut tells me too.
I like it. I hope you guys are right.
Matt Rothman says Nik should buy a 6-pack of Labatt Blue if he's wrong about the goalie predictions for next game. You're going to make me drink that on stream?
Terrible. What is this, a torture stream?
I'll think about it now. I'll think about it. Caitlin says, honestly, I think the Blues might goon it up on Friday. They're a young team, put up a good fight. I think they might come through some big hits, start some fights for the crowd, and call it a season. And you do wonder about how some of those guys will react. They got such an interesting squad. They got a ton of older names that have been around the block for a long time.
Yep.
But some of their best players, this is like their first big shot at this. So you wonder how they're going to respond now. The pressure was on Winnipeg going into this one. I think the pressure floats back to St. Louis, and I think that's going to be interesting to see how they do.
Pressure shifts back over, but so does the matchup advantage. So it's, it'll be interesting to see how Montgomery gets that team ready to go for that game, if they come out firing like they did in Game 3, or if we're able to find something early ourselves.
And Curtis Weeb also points out on the whole driving the net conversation, DeMello doesn't score off Parayko if Valardi doesn't crash the net back door.
Yep.
Exactly. Create that havoc, create that traffic, make things get messy, and good things are going to happen. Sometimes you create your own luck. Sometimes you got to create your own luck.
Damn right.
Julian says Miller's shot could greatly help a PP by giving it a different look. There's no threat from the point. I'm with you, Julian. I'm with you, especially with the Shifley loss now. Yeah, let's go to the phone lines if someone's calling in.
Hey, caller. Thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
Hey, guys. Your average Jets fan here again. Great
buddy.
win tonight. Nik, I'm happy that you got to be in the building to see that. The Jets are undefeated every playoff game you're at, so might be a coincidence there.
Ooh.
Hey, is that where we're starting? The landing strip post-game live shows or the live in-house attendance is what's driving the wins? I could roll with that if you want.
Yeah, but one thing I just wanted to talk about is that I do think this is the first game where I feel like the Jets actually put like a complete effort, and I felt like I was watching the same team from the regular season. Game 1 and 2, the Jets played like good for stretches of time, whereas today just felt like a great dominant effort. I felt like I was watching the game where I was able to meet up with you during the regular season, honestly, and mirrored that game almost identically.
Yeah, we saw the team we're used to seeing over the last for most of this season, where they're really strong defensively. I thought they did a really good job of pressuring on St. Louis, and really that's what kind of helped keep the shot counter where it was at, where the Jets were really good at keeping those gaps tight compared to St. Louis. I thought really exposed them defensively on the road. It was nice to see them really buckle down in that aspect, and I thought they did a good job. The one thing with St. Louis, I think when you give them time and space, they're pretty good at creating off of it. But you saw them really throwing the puck around in the D zone, and I thought the Jets did a great job in the offensive zone at jumping on that. And kind of, we saw this group. I was talking with I forget what his name is in the chat here. One of the guys in the chat. Donnie Fester came by to pick up some shirts today, and we were talking about how it didn't feel like the Jets were able to establish that constant shift over shift in the O zone, and I felt we saw that come to life today. I thought this was probably the most Jets system game we've seen yet.
100%, and I think that it's really evident with how we would hem the Blues in, and then the Blues would dump it out. And I love how the Jets didn't make an effort to skate it back and reset. They would immediately feed it to the line coming off the bench, and they would go right back at them. With that being said, I do need to reiterate what Mikey said, and that what we all know, which is that Logan Stanley and Luke Schenn are just a terrible, 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 terrible defensive pair. Like, they're just – it's terrible. And, like, one thing that I don't really Braden Schenn is Luke Schenn's brother, and I understand that you're you're probably not gonna drop the gloves and punch your brother in the face a couple times in front of your dad. But with that being said, the third pair's response to Mark Scheifele being injured was just so incredibly terrible, and I think that Scott Arniel is playing them 9 minutes a night in such a restricted role. And it's Arniel, if you were playing them 12 or 15 minutes a night, it would actually show that you actually believe in them. And it's you're not even doing that. So it's why is Colin Miller? What?
Hey, as you know, I hear you. I see you. I see things the same way. It's just one of those nights. The vibes are too good in my day to beat that horse. When I say it's not going to change much, we're going to see it, and that's the spot we're going to see St. Louis try and pick apart, and we're going to be clenching on Friday when this series shifts to St. Louis, where we just saw Monty do a pretty good job of coaching at home. So we'll see where this goes. I'm with you, buddy. Thanks for the call in tonight.
Of course, buddy. Take care. As long as Scheif is okay, we don't have anything to complain about, do we?
Yeah, that's the big one here.
Yep.
Without Scheif, that Friday game gets real tough. I'm hoping for some good news there tomorrow.
Cheers, boys. Take care.
Take care, buddy. I'm pretty sure I see it in the chat. T. Conopoli says the Primo brothers fought, and Tyler Branch says didn't the Kachuk's fight as well? I'm pretty sure the Schenns have once. I want to say I was watching something on that, or they came close. I know Luke Schenn broke Braden's rib or something one time, so there has been some of that in their history. But
Yep.
I will say it was pretty disappointing watching Mark Scheifele get beat up quite a bit, and the response to not be as overwhelming as you maybe want. And towards the end, when Braden Schenn was following around Kyle Connor, when Kyle Connor's just drifting out of the play to try and get something, I'd like someone to go give him a tap. That had me pretty fired up in the stands, where I wanted to kind of get out there and do something
Hop the
stupid.
boards, right? You ready for the next call?
Yeah, let's go to it.
Hey, caller, thanks for holding. You're on the landing strip. What's your name and what would you like to talk about?
What's up, guys? It's Blake.
Hey, Blake.
St. Louis. How you guys doing?
Good, Blake. How you doing tonight? It's got to be better vibes down there for you today.
Yeah. No, I'm happy. I'm happy we got the W. Honestly, Scheif going down definitely gives you that feeling. But yeah, we definitely had a good from game 3 and 4 coming into this one with completely different game plan. Worked and it worked, which is really good. That's great to hear coming from. Actually, honestly, it's really good to hear because that was the first time in the last 3 years we've actually got to put a win in after we lost in Vegas and Colorado, only won game 1 of those 2 and then lost out. Now we've actually won a game after a loss, which is really big for the confidence. And
For the first time
I'm
since
really happy with
2019's
that.
Blue
Kyle
Series.
Connor had a great game too, like a really good game. Who else am I thinking of? Gabe Valardi. He didn't have much. He didn't have many shots. Didn't have in that sort, but had a great game, just making disasters in front of the net, on the side of the net. Had a really good output in that. Also, I was hearing the funny about Logan Stanley. Yeah, it reminds me in a sense of Jim Hiller of the Los Angeles Kings, how they're playing Edmonton, and they're only using their third line defense for like 7 minutes, 8 minutes a game, and their fourth line forwards only like 9 minutes, 8 minutes a game as well. So they're really burning those players on the other hand. So I really would like to get Colin Miller in there for the power play because, you know, Neil Pionk hitting a couple slap shots today. It really reminded me of Colin Miller each time because he could be on the power play doing that. Of course, I feel like Josh Morrissey as well has got something wrong, maybe with a rib, something kind of in that sort, and he's playing through it. But yeah, no, really good game in that sort. I hope though. I'm definitely going to Game 6. There's no doubt. After seeing that
Gotta
win
be
tonight, I definitely booked 2 tickets already, and yeah, I'm really hoping for them to shake hands and get some rest, and especially let's hope all of us hope Dallas and Colorado, you know, go to 7, and hopefully someone gets injured in their games. But yeah, hopefully we get good news with Scheifele.
Hopefully we do. Blake, you enjoy the game Friday. I'm pumped for you, and hopefully it's a better experience than Game 3 and what you had to experience down in St. Louis. Appreciate the call. Loved your takeaways, bud. You have a good rest of your night, eh?
You too, guys. Have a good one.
And speaking of people down in St. Louis, I want to give Tyler Branch a shout-out down in the chat on YouTube, who is a Blues fan joining in. So love to see that. Love to see you've been a part. It says, 2019 seems like only yesterday, talking about that 2019 Blues team that won the Cup. That's the last time the Jets won a game in a series after a loss. They got that out of the way today. It's been a long time for this core. Also from Tyler Branch, interesting from the other perspective here. I want to say thanks for the kind words. Said, I actually enjoy this post-game stream better than any of my Hometime Blues BS. You guys are fucking awesome, which we really appreciate. And Tree G says, agreed, Winnipeg has several awesome podcasts compared to other teams. And hey, this podcast scene's doing pretty well in Winnipeg right now. It's pretty cool to see how many people are doing some great stuff. So yeah, definitely check out what's going on here. I think Winnipeg's got some pretty good talent in that regard. Also, from Tyler's point of view, the Jets were the only conference team I didn't want us to play in the first round. I honestly think the Jets and the Blues are the 2 best teams in the West right now. And that's it's funny you say that because I know for us, both me and Mikey on the show here, we're looking at wanting the Wild more than the Blues. Now, what the Wild have done against Vegas has me questioning that a little bit. Not like this has been an interesting series or an easy series. It's pretty clear. I think all 8 teams that got in the West were going to be competitive based on how those wildcard teams came in. But St. Louis had me quite concerned. The 4-0 game towards the end of the year had me feeling better about Winnipeg's system being able to counter St. Louis, but we were feeling mutual on that. I just wanted to say. What do you think, Mikey?
Yeah. Oh, sorry about that. I was just grabbing thing here. Yeah, that was the man. We were hoping for the Wild to try to avoid this type of series against the Blues, and yeah, this is
They're giving it to Vegas, man. That's been a good series over there,
right. I was not expecting them to put up that much of a fight against the Knights. So yeah, this has been an absolutely incredible series to go off of on here, and I'm man, I know you guys want to end this one on Friday. I'm thinking we're going to be coming back for Game 7. I don't know why.
We'll see. I'm down to watch as much hockey as possible. I was nervous going into today. I don't know how I'm going to feel going into a Sunday Game 7. So for personal health, I would like them to finish it on Friday.
Yep.
But hey, if we got to have a weekend of nerves, we got to have a weekend of nerves. Zooch 40 also points out in this, it's why you fight all year for home ice advantage, and we're seeing how important that has been in this series. B. Callis also says, "Don't say that. I want it to end in 6."
I want it to. Don't worry. I'm worried.
Our new friend from St. Louis says, and I can't hate Winnipeg. I do hate the Avs, Boston, fucking Chicago, Detroit. And hey, it's a small market thing. I think it's easier to cheer for some of the smaller markets that don't get the annoying airplay. So we appreciate that.
Yep.
I was honestly, my big takeaway this year was when the Blues hired Jim Montgomery. I was kind of terrified. I'm a big Jim Montgomery fan. Speaking of which, did you see the new rumor in the Central? What coach might be coming to Utah?
Who are they saying?
The guy that just lost to Florida round 1.
Oh, bringing John Cooper over.
The hot rumor right today was John Cooper to Utah, which is just like, come on, are you kidding? The West needs some more.
Yeah, we don't need that right now.
The young emerging team in the Central needs John Cooper. Come on.
God, no, I'm gonna pass on that one. No, thank you.
The Utah Mammoth, the Mammoth.
Is that where we're landing at?
Yeah, that's what all the socials got changed to today. So it looks like they
There
got
it
a team
is.
name.
We landed. I was kind of hoping we are gonna stick with Utah Hockey Club. I liked that one.
So was I. Tyler Branches, Joel Quinville. Sounds like he's going to Anaheim. Sounds like he's going to be the Ducks next coach.
Q coming back.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Pelesgene Skeleton. Is it going to be the Mammoth? That's what it seems like. All their like YouTube, Twitter, all that kind of content changed to @Utah Mammoth today. So I'm assuming that's the name. I want to see what the jersey and the logo is going to look like. That could be a fun one.
Yeah, that could be cool.
With which I was with you though on the whole keeping it Utah Hockey Club, but they could do some fun stuff with Mammoth.
Mammoth could be cool.
Let's go into the 3 stars and get out of here for the night as we approach 1:30 a.m. I want to appreciate everyone that joined this chat at this hour. All of you rock to join this show and be a part of this. If you're listening to the next day, we appreciate you as well. And I'll use this time to remind you, be a friend, tell a friend. We want to keep building this show up. The feedback we got after Sunday was incredible, and we want to keep this rolling. So like, subscribe, keep the comments coming, keep the interaction coming, and we'll be back Friday. But let's get into the 3 stars before we head out.
Right on.
Mikey, you'll kick it off. If you're still in this chat, feel free to put your 3 stars of this game into the chat. Mikey, let's hear yours first.
Number 3, I had the guy that jumped up into Mark Scheifele's spot tonight, Vlad Nemestikov. He responded with a couple points, that big goal, filling in the minutes that were left open by Scheifele's injury. I thought he filled in well. So I got Vlad at number 3. Number 2, I was kind of back and forth a little bit on who I wanted to go into and who I was going to put into 1. For number 2, I settled at Dylan DeMello. He's had such a resurgence lately. This is the type of game we've been expecting to see out of DeMello for most of the year. For different reasons, it just kind of hasn't quite been there for long stretches at a time. But we're kind of getting there now. So the game tonight was another good example for Double D. And then number 1, I went with Kyle Connor, who was just so goddamn good tonight. Especially after Scheifele went down, he really took over. This was maybe his best playoff game with the Jets. Moves into second place all time for their 2.0 playoff points. So, Kyle Connor, number 1.
Former Dallas Stars goaltender Ben Bishop over on YouTube says they ain't getting past the Stars anyways. Hey, Stars still got to finish up the Avs. I'm not counting my chickens until they hatch. The Jets still got to beat St. Louis one more time. But if it's Jets and Stars, we'll see where that goes. We'll remember that, Ben Bishop. I'm going to give an honorary mention because Tyler Branch is right. Nathan Walker needs a little bit of love in this segment. 2 goals for St. Louis. First one had me dead silent in that arena.
Yeah.
It was not fun to see that answer.
Nope.
Second one had me just like, whatever, game's over. It's all good. 3rd star in this one. I can't believe I'm going to do this, but I have to. I got to lean into it. Might have been the most frustrating 3-point game I've ever watched an NHL player play. It might have been. But Mason Appleton is involved in 3 big moments in this game that tilt the scoreboard. So Mason Appleton's going to sneak into my 3rd spot. We're hard on the guy, and rightfully so. And today is a night that you could be hard on him.
And then number 2 is Luke Shen, and number 1 is Logan Stanley. Is that what we're going at?
No, I'm not going there. I'm going somewhere where we didn't spill any love to. and we've spent a lot of love there this year. Dylan Sandberg. I thought this was another quiet, steady defensive performance from Dylan Sandberg where you're not going to see the flashy, sexy highlights, but his active stick and when he's able to just stop up with his natural physical abilities and shut down the Blues defensively. I thought this was I thought game 2 was the coming out party for Dylan Sandberg as to showing the broader hockey world what Dylan Sandberg we've witnessed establish himself this year. I thought that was the second best game he's played in this series. So I'm going to go Dylan Sandberg number 2. And then I'm going to go number 1. He lost his number 1 center. We've wondered about the complete game so far, despite having 2 big game winners. Kyle Connor, I thought this was his best complete game of the series. Starts it right from the beginning in the first shift with that goal, right through the end with Vlad Nemeskov up the middle, and he has that beautiful backhand pass to set up Vlad. Kyle Connor is going to be the number 1 star. Thank you for being here. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back Wednesday after Game 6 of the St. Louis Blues versus Winnipeg Jets. Have a good night, y'all.
Good night, everybody.